It's been another long day in Brody. You had an early start today when you woke up at 12 p.m. and you went over to the library, right? And you're studying for that exam. You're preparing for that essay, and you get a little hungry. So you trudge over to the FFC, right? You have your plate of dried chicken in hand, and you look out to those tables, and you realize that you made a fatal mistake. You came alone. But rather than eat in a lonely fashion, you decide to sit across from some random stranger and you ask them those 3 questions that have stagnated university social dynamics for decades. What year are you? Where are you from? And what's your major? I want you to think of your closest friend here. What would their answers to these questions be? You might scoff at me a little bit. Of course you know the answer to these questions. Well, let me pose it a little bit differently then. What if you found out that your friend was a junior instead of a senior, was from California instead of Texas, or was a film studies major instead of a biology major? Would you say there's someone different? Would you say that they're fundamentally changed? I hope that your answer is no, and regardless of their year, hometown, or major, they're still someone that you love and trust. This illustrates a point that has bothered me for some time. We ask these questions because we want commonality. We want a quick and easy connection. We ask them because the answers are short, and the resulting discussions are just long enough that they're done at the same time we finish that dry plate of chicken. But what if we didn't want easy answers? What if we didn't want short conversations? What if with every meal we talked with a depth and a profundity that made us think and wonder? I realized for me that such a goal was naturally unattainable. People simply don't like going that deep. I needed an in, a way to slice through the superficiality, get to the heart of the matter. So my result was 3 questions, and I'll be presenting them to you tonight. At first, you might not be that impressed. You might say, Collin, do you know how many Orgo Lab slides I memorized this morning before the exam? If I can do that, I can answer these questions no problem. But the power isn't in the questions, but in the follow-up. In the subsequent thought and discussion that makes you realize they're a little bit more than just face value. So you ready to get to know each other? The first question, what is your home? How many of you saw a place? You saw a bed draped in the memories of your childhood. You saw the table that you ate at every morning. You saw the halls that you ran down, the door through which you stepped outside, the streets that you walked and drove. How many of you saw people? You saw the loving faces of your mom and dad. You saw a sibling comforting you in a time of need, a teacher proving that she was more than just an instructor, a friend caring when they had no obligation to do so. How many of you saw nothing? Neither a place nor a person. Maybe you just felt emptiness. Maybe you felt lost. Maybe you're searching. Maybe you're waiting for that moment when you can finally say, I am home. When I came to Hopkins, my family had actually just moved from California to Texas. You can imagine that was quite devastating for me. Essentially, overnight, I had lost access to good weather and the perfect burger. For 17 years, I had grown up in California, and now when I went to Texas, I went to a house empty of friends and familiarity. So I came to my first conclusion, my first definition of home. Home was where there are people that I cared about. And I cared about people in California. Sophomore year rolls around, and I decided it's time to go back. I decided it's time to go home. It's time to go to California. and I booked the flight, and I'm excited. I'm excited to get reacquainted with all those friends. But time can change a lot of things. And I found that I had lost many of the friends that I once deemed close. There is a moment in that trip that is etched into my memory. I'm at my church office, I'm staring out a window to a street that I had driven nearly 1,000 times. And in that moment, I wanted to leave. I wanted to go. I wanted to escape. I wanted to be somewhere as far away from California as I possibly could be. I didn't want to go to Texas. I didn't want to go to that empty house. I wanted to come here. I wanted to come to Hopkins. And it hit me. Home is not where there are people that I care about. That I care about plenty of people in California. And that's not my home. Home is where there are people that care about me. And that's here. And the beauty of that definition is that it makes sense. To change it would be to fundamentally change me. Think about it. You could ask me, Collin, what's your home? In an instant, I say Hopkins. But you could, prod me a little bit. You might say, all right, well, that's the case. Then let's take all the people you care about, okay, that care about you. Let's move them. Let's move them far away. Some distant area, middle of nowhere, let's say North Dakota. And you ask me, what's your home? And in an instant, I say, North Dakota. Because of course, my answer doesn't rely on the place or the memories or the familiarity. It relies on the people. And that's here. The second question. Who is your best friend? Now for some of you, an individual instantly came to the top of your mind, right? Someone who has been with you through thick and thin. And for others of you, you'll hem and you'll haw and you'll say, well, this person was close to me at this time, and this person was close to me in another. But I just want to, regardless of your answer, really shine a spotlight on them, since they are such wonderful people, aren't they? What is your favorite quality about them? What is your least favorite quality about them? What do they provide that no one else can provide? You say that they're your best friend, but if they didn't feel the same, would you still call them that? I've had many best friends in my life. Some of them still are my friends. Others of them drift away, just like some friends do. And as I grow older, and as my heart mellows a little bit, I realize that maybe the title is too much to ask of just one person. Why should I have a set of preconceived qualities that I want one person to adhere to? Now, I look around this place, right? And I see a lot of faces. And the beauty of it is, those friends, each of them provide something that no one else can provide. To some capacity, each of them is my best friend. When I was younger, my dad decided to impart to me a lesson. He said, so often through life, we go through it letting chance decide who we'll meet, who we'll be friends with. And then he paused. And he said, but the people you surround yourself with, that's who you'll become. So why are you letting chance decide who you'll be? Perhaps my question really isn't, who is your best friend? My question is, who are you? The third question, what is your ideal self? This question comes from a psychological principle. It says there is one version of us that we are, and there is another version of us of who we want to be. But every one of our actions is an attempt to align ourselves with one or the other. And at the end of the day, we all just want to be that ideal self. Some of you might not like that. Some of you might say to yourself, well, I'm perfectly content with who I am. But my question to you is, can you say that? Can you say that you have no wish to be more caring, more loving, more compassionate, to have more courage, be brave, or even strong-willed? When I imagine my own answer to this question, I often think of it in terms of what other people would say. That is, if you were to ask my friend, describe to me who Collin is, these are the things they would say. Collin is an upstanding guy. Collin believes in what he believes, and he won't deviate from it. Collin genuinely cares for those around him. It's these ideals that drive my actions, that make me think before every decision, does this align with who I want to be? I only really have one follow-up question when it comes to the ideal self. What's stopping you? Why do you see a disparity between who you are and who you want to be and do nothing about it? Is it your environment? Is it the people around you? Is it yourself? This question is about a destination, but it's also about a journey. And once you realize the answers to both, then maybe one day you could be your ideal self. Now, a few weeks ago, I was talking to one of my closest friends here on campus, Blair Chang, and it came up that I was going to be doing a TEDx talk, and that I was going to be doing it on these 3 questions. Now, the funny thing, right, is that I met Blair about 9 months ago, and when I met him, I asked him these 3 questions. So he was naturally curious, right, and having forgotten, he asked me, what was my answer to the home question? And I thought about it, laughed a little bit, and realized I had absolutely no idea. Some of you might ask, what's the point then? Right? Why do you ask such complex questions if in less than a year, you're going to forget the answers? And my response to you is the same thing that I told Blair. That there comes a point when the answers just no longer matter. When the depth of the relationship is so much deeper than just 3 questions. Tonight, I hope you learned something about yourself, sure. But I also hope that you realize that's not the point. The point of these questions is not to get to know people. The point is to let people know that you want to listen. And by listening, that's the first step to showing that you care. And caring is the gateway to deep and meaningful relationships. You know, my relationship with Blair, it starts with 3 questions, but it ends with a lifelong friend. So, if someone were to ask me, Collin, why don't you write a letter to your past freshman self? Right? I imagine that in that letter, I would include a postscript. And that postscript would go something like this. P.S. Hopkins is a new place full of new people. Don't be scared by that. Don't look for your home, but make one here. Don't let chance decide your friends, but find people you love and bring them close. Don't settle for who you are, but always strive to be better. And most importantly, share yourself with others and let them share themselves with you. Life's too short to live it alone. Thank you.